Safety car, which is excellent news as they come to lap the 19 Porsche that's been in a bit of dramas today. Puncture very early on in the race. Took him 4.5 minutes to change that puncture. Down the hill towards Vale. And the gap isn't... It's fairly similar, isn't it? It's about three or four tenths of a second for a considerable amount of time now through Club. Andrea Piccini set his fastest lap of the race so far. It may not be long. And here's the replay of the spin. Oh, yeah, just couldn't quite hold it. Goody, the McLaren, and then he backed himself into the gravel. That was a bit strange. Perhaps he needs to get on the brakes and stop himself from sliding backwards. And there he is, being ploughed through the gravel, really. And here's a look now. Philippe Albuquerque very, very close on the exit of Aintree. He's going to tuck right into the slipstream. But as we've said, that Alpine are very, very quick. You can see how much it pulls away. Albuquerque was right in the wheel tracks of it, coming out of the left-hander of Aintree. Down the straight, he loses all sorts of time, so there goes the McLaren. No overtaking into there anyway, overtaking into here though, because sliding up the inside is the 50 AF Corsa car, and that actually is going past Maciel, so that's for 10th, but also for... no, it's not for 3rd in Pro-Am, because that's a Pro car. Just running a little bit further back in the order, so championship-wise that doesn't affect Maciel, so he probably would have been fairly satisfied to let that AF Corsa car, being driven now by Marco Ciocci, to slide through on the inside into Vale, because it won't really have made much difference to his championship challenge. Down the hanger straight comes this continuing battle for 3rd place. It's the Alpina P6 of Dylan Derdal, with Felipe Albuquerque in 4th place in his WRT Audi R8. They've been duelling for a number of laps now as we hit the 50-lap marker, with 1 hour and 11 minutes remaining in this Blancpain endurance season. In the pits is one of the Hexus cars. And who will that be, I wonder? Can't quite see which team that is. There was one, I think it was the 3 car was out of sync, wasn't it? Because he had to pit early on for some fresh tyres. So whether they're still out of sync or whether it's an early stop for car 4. It's the car 4 car, so it's Henri Moser. And, well, the 60 car has got out of the gravel. Surely he will just have to drive back and park in the pit lane, because you can't really get a push start. Here's Albuquerque. There we go. I said it would take a cunning manoeuvre at a slow part of the circuit. That's exactly what happens, but the Alpina is so good with the traction, it manages to get it down better, and it can't quite keep it up through Aintree. So Felipe Albuquerque makes up 2 positions just by catching people off guard. Brilliant work as they come down into the left-hander. The Portuguese driver really, really sharp on it today. He's about to lap the 36 car, and big slide there from Dylan Derdal. He is probably quite annoyed that he got caught out at such a simple part of the circuit. And, well, he's going to pit, actually. So Dylan Derdal is the first of our front runners to dive into the pit lane. So hopefully that will, for him, hopefully that will negate any problems. So that means that he's going to be taken over by... in that 41 car, Dino Lunardi, the man who took pole position yesterday, I think. Dylan Derdal climbs out the car. One hour, 10 minutes remaining. Here's the replay. Look at this, Albuquerque moves to the right a little bit, sends him the dummy. Brilliant move, gets the car stopped. It looked as though Derdal was going to get the power down a bit better. Thought they were going to be side by side through Aintree. But that Audi just had enough power to hang on around the outside. Great move from Felipe Albuquerque. So the yellow flags have been removed from Luffield corner, as has the car. And a pat on the back for Dylan Derdal. Because when that car came into the pits, it was 2nd. And he's brought it in. He would have brought it in 4th place, wouldn't he? So Well, some positions. Not the dominant performance we were expecting to see from the Alpina today, has to be said. We were expecting it to rocket away at the front of the field. But alas, no. Oh, a little bit of trouble with the right rear air gun there by the looks of things. And away goes Dylan Derdal. So a good pit stop is somewhere in the region of 1 minute 35 seconds. That's a proper good one. 1 minute 40s is kind of average. 1 minute 50s is approaching slow. So we'll see how quickly that changeover was for Dylan Derdal, or now Dino Lunardi, who has taken over. As I say, first of the front runners to pit. Car 31 spun and continued. So that's Fabien Michal. So Georges Caban's car spun and continued. As we say, he only needs to finish to take the championship. That was at turn 16, so that's Brooklands. He's had a little spin. Now this is not for class position, but David Jones is going to defend for all he's worth from the pro AF Corsa car of Marco Ciocci. Ciocci's going to get the cutback though and slide up the inside into Aintree. Surely David Jones will try and hang it around the outside, but it was a done deal really, and that moves Ciocci up into 8th place. And no surprise really, because he's the fastest man on the circuit on that last lap. Closely followed by Philippe Albuquerque. So Albuquerque, I think, will be a bit frustrated when he has to pit in and hand over to Stefano Telli. So David Jones, strong performance at Spa from the Mercedes, and a strong performance here, still leading the still second in the Pro-Am class. Peter Coxon is still leading it. As across the line they come. What was that lap pit stop? A 1 minute 50.6 pit stop for Derdal, so not particularly quick, as the Mercedes goes a little bit wide there. Not too much damage done with the concrete runoff these days, or tarmac runoff I should say. It is a very good looking car. Certainly my favourite car in the British GT field. As it exits through the left-hander of Chapel, down onto the hangar straight once more. You can see the speed that the Pro car has. As we see, is this a battle for position? Well, this is the recently pitted Alpina, now being driven by Dino Lunardi. He's just got past one of the Rhino Lampert Lamborghinis. So what position is this? That was the 6th Lamborghini he just got past, which is now being run by De Vega. So Lorenzo Bairo De Vega appears to be running that one, although I'm pretty sure he started the race, so we'll see how that all transpires. But nevertheless, that is 10th position now for Lunardi. But of course we've got to wait for all the pit stops to shake out. The second of the front runners is in, Gia Maria in the Auto Orlando Sport Porsche 997 GT3R. He is going to come in and hand over to Paolo Ruberti. And purple first sector, so the fastest first sector of the race so far for Dino Lunardi. Fresh tyres and a quick driver means that that Mark VDS car is going quickly. This Mark VDS car is leading the race, but a little bit wobbly coming through Village. Out onto the Wellington Straight he comes. There then is the number 9 car, Gia Maria, handing over to Paolo Ruberti. Once they've changed the tyres, that car will be heading back out in the hands of Ruberti, who's done Italian Formula 3, European Touring Car Championship for quite a few years before moving into FIA GT2. Turning his hand pretty well to this GT3 Porsche. Race leader comes across the line then. 54 laps completed. And away goes the Porsche. Interesting to see where he comes out compared to the Alpina. The Alpina was ahead, but not by much, as he heads towards the exit of the pit lane. I don't think I've seen the Alpina come through up here, but we'll wait and see how that all transpires as well. It was a quick lap time, a quick pit stop actually, 20 seconds quicker than the Alpina for the Porsche, so it could well have an impact. But purple first sector, purple middle sector for Lunardi. Dino Lunardi in the 41 Alpina is really rocketing along. So even if he did have a slow pit stop, he's going to be making up time, I imagine. Car 2 now is getting a telling off for not respecting track limits. That is Louis Maciel. As into the pits comes the 32 Audi F. Philippe Albuquerque comes in to the pit lane, and he is going to be handing over to Stefano Telli, another very experienced driver. Had that crazy crash at Monza a few years ago, didn't he, in a Le Mans, in an MS car, where he hit the curb and flew up in the air. But he'll be hoping for no spectacular accidents when he takes over his little stint in the car. So where will he come out compared to Paolo Roberti, who's now in that number 9 Porsche? All seems to be going okay so far. The refueling and driver change is a fairly straightforward part. It's now when everything gets a little bit pressurised, really. With the change of tyres, only 2 men, as you can see, taking on the tyre changing process. Very similar to GT1, where only 2 men are allowed. So Albuquerque then hands over. Stefano Telli takes over. And is this going to... Well, we've just seen him, hadn't we, get past the Alpina. Where's he going to come out to in relation to the Alpina? Here's Peter Cox still charging through the field. I think that was a back marker he was about to go past. The number 3 car. Now being driven by Laurent Cazenave. And yeah, Cazenave is a couple of laps down, I think. Into Club. After they've come through Vale, obviously. And Peter Cox is now running 5th overall. Of course, these guys have got to do 3 stops. Everyone has to do 3 stops. And when I say 3 stops, I mean 2 stops, sorry. But they've only done 1 so far, haven't they? Yeah. So Peter Cox will have to come into the pits again, but they may leave it fairly late to try and get the maximum speed possible. So there's not Dylan Derdal now. It's been handed over to, as we say, Dino Lunardi, and he is absolutely flying around the circuit. Just set the fastest lap of the race a few laps ago, a 2-minute 3.468. But the pit stops didn't work out for him at all, because he is now behind the number 9 Porsche, by the looks of things. And, well, we still haven't seen where the 32 car of Albuquerque has come out. Now he's handed over to Stefano Telli, so just needs, although it looked like a pretty good pit stop, it was about 15 seconds quicker. So I think Dino Lunardi is going to need some flying laps if he wants to close in the gap here, because it was a bit of a sluggish pit stop from the Alpina team, unfortunately. He turns into the right-hander. Is that the number 9 Porsche he's just coming up against? Let's have a look to the left-hand side of the screen. No, I think that's one of the back marker Porsches, isn't it? There is the pit stop for Andrea Piccini. He is now handing over to Christopher Mize for the final stint. The German driver will be driving the German car, and race leader into the pits. Maxime Martin will be ready to take over from the lead car. There they go then. So a pretty decent stint, it has to be said, from Marcus Pautala. Still in with a chance if they win this race and our championship leaders don't get any points, which is the 33 car that's in there now, then he still has a chance of winning. But Christopher Mize will be heading out still in the top 10, and 8th place is all they need to take the championship. So it doesn't look like that will happen as we head into the final hour of the Blancpain Endurance Series for 2011. Still plenty to be decided, so we'll try and work out exactly what's happening there. So looks like the Porsche now is ahead of the Audi, the 32 Audi of which was Albuquerque, wasn't it? But it's now handed over to Stefano Telli. So the Porsche has leapfrogged there in the pit stops. And how far behind is the Alpina behind them? The Alpina's just coming into that shot, I think, that we cut away from at the last minute. So race leader back out. Will he have a comfortable margin? I'd imagine so. He's coming out of the pit lane. Our second place man is still at 29. Ferrari, has he pitted then, Iaconelli? No, he hasn't, has he? So the blue Porsche is the first car that stopped, so actually is a massively comfortable advantage for the BMW Z4. There he is, back out onto circuit, tucked in behind, I think that's the number 2 car now, isn't it? One of the Vita for 1 cars. Anyway, out onto the hangar straight, and Maxime Martin, very, very quick driver, qualified the car 3rd on the grid yesterday. I have no doubt he will be lapping pretty quickly once he gets going. Dino Lunardi is still setting purple sectors, even 3 or 4 laps into this new fresh set of tyres, so the fuel's coming down and his lap times are coming down as well. It won't be long before we have a royal battle going on there. Christopher Mies now is down in 8th position. He has come out of the pits, but I think there are people in front who have yet to stop. The 50 car of Chiocci is yet to stop, as we see Maxime Martin trying to find his way around some of the back markers. That is Michael Bartel. He's trying to get past, or is it? I'm not 100% sure if the number 2 car has done its second stop. Yes, it has, so it is Michael Bartel. He's up behind, coming through Aintree. Now here's Lunardi. He is coming up behind the 29 machine, who is leading but hasn't stopped. So this is unlapping himself, basically, isn't it? The Alpina going around the outside. So that car of Iaconelli is our race leader, but as we say, he has not yet made his final pit stop. And such is the pace of Lunardi that he has managed to unlap himself. Now, where are the cars in front? Those 2 in front of him are battles for position. I think is going to be something like the battle for 3rd and 4th, isn't it? I think when it all shakes out, 3rd will be the Porsche, 4th will be the Audi, and 5th will be Dino Lunardi, if it all shakes out correctly. He exits the corner. There still is our race leader, Iaconelli, 57 laps, and 1 minute and 10 seconds ahead of the BMW Z4, but once again, he's pretty much the only man who hasn't pitted yet, apart from Peter Cox and Chiocci in 5th place. Only one of our front runners, let's say, that is yet to pit, the number 29 Ferrari. Across the line comes Stefano Telli. Is he any closer to Paolo Roberti that time around? He did lap significantly quicker, 9/10 of a second quicker. So in this battle for what is 3rd position, once all the pit stops have sorted themselves out, Ortelli looks like he's going to claim it fairly soon, because not really troubling any of the apexes there is the Porsche. So Paolo Roberti, taking a little bit of time to get into the swing of things, is about to be passed surely by the Audi. He cuts him off on the run down towards Stowe Corner. Is the Audi going to dart to the inside? Thinks about it, but not enough of an overlap, and not a big enough stopping zone to just do it on the brakes. Let's see if Roberti can find an apex at some point. He's got one there at Vale, and so it was through the quicker corners the Porsche seems to be struggling. Doesn't really make sense, because they're only going to have had 5 or 6 minutes on these fresh tyres, so it should still be pretty grippy. Is that the 29 car in the pits now, our race leader? Yes, it is. So Iaconelli comes into the pit lane, and he will be handing over for the final stint to Giacomo Petrobelli as this battle continues. I wonder where they'll come out in comparison, actually, because this could be quite close to these two as they come through Aintree. This could be very, very interesting to see. Well, there he goes, actually, so he's right by the end of the pit lane, so that's a good stop. One of the fastest stops we've seen, actually, from Iaconelli, handing over to Petrobelli. So Petrobelli moves out. So is he still ahead of Maxime Martin? We'll have to just try and figure that out, because on the timing screens he is, as they come through Beckett's and Maggots, is that 29 Ferrari now the lead? No, he isn't, is he? So the number 9 car, Paolo Ruberti, is still hanging on ahead of Stefan Ortelli. And now we've got the McLarens doing, but oh, so that's a, yeah, that's 60 McLaren then, now being driven, as we said earlier, it was handed over to Adam Christodoulou. So even though he beached it in the gravel and the marshals pushed him out, he's still out there racing, and he is right up behind David Jones, even though Jones is a couple of laps ahead, I think. There is the 50 AF Corsa Ferrari, I think, in the pit lane. Yep. So he's our final one, really, of our front runners. Once he's dispensed with, and the 24 car of Peter Cox, once they have both pitted, we will have a clear view of the order. Here's Maxime Martin through the right-hander and out onto Woodcote Corner. So he is leading the way as he comes across the line. And he cuts the time beam for the first time since the pit stops, and he has now moved back into the lead ahead of Petrobelli. So Peter Cox running in third, but again, he does still have to make that final pit stop, which means that third now, in essence, I think is going to be Paolo Ruberti in the number 9 Porsche, ahead of Stefan Ortelli. And the Alpina car of Dino Lunardi. And as if by magic, here are those three, down into Brooklands. Still that Porsche struggling to get the nose in. And the Audi right up behind. The Alpina's charge has somewhat waned a little bit. He was going very fast, but now he's getting up to the back of them. Less speedy. Still one of the quickest guys out there on the circuit, if not the quickest guy out there on the circuit. But hasn't rocketed right up to the back just yet. Into Copse Corner. 52 minutes remaining. A couple of wheels put on the AstroTurf on the outside there by the Audi. It's not really going to help Stefan Ortelli in his quest to catch down and pass Paolo Ruberti for what will be the final podium position. Yes, I was just seeing where the 29 car had come out. He's got fairly comfortable margin, actually 26 seconds over this battle. So it should be a fairly comfortable second place. There's a McLaren up on its jacks once more. So they're strapping him back in. It looks like they've fixed the car, and they're going to send Danny Watts out for a 51-minute little hurrah. See what he can do. And it'll be good to see Danny Watts back out. Matteo Bobby has come in the number 1 car. He's going to be handing over to Nico Verdonk for the final session of the race. Here's the Alpina then, right on the back of these two now. Is going to be a 3-way scrap for third place. Down into the right-hander at Village. The Porsche going very defensive. The Alpina almost looking out of control as the back end steps out from him. You can see how much ground that cost him, just that little slide. And Stefan Ortelli must be thinking, well, I've got to get past this Porsche if I want anything to try and put as much distance between me and the Alpina as they lap one of the slower AF Corsa Ferraris. I think that'll be the Pro-Am Howard Blank, Yannick Malgol and Jean-Marc Becheler car. There's the McLaren still in the pits. Look, they were about ready to go. Are we heading out? Don't know. Through Woodcote Corner, across the line. Still Peter Cox out there, so I imagine he's going to do a long stint and then hand back over to Mark Hayek. Look at that, all 4 wheels off at Cox. Stefan Ortelli, in fact, must respect track limits. That's just been fed to our timing screens. That's down at Stowe Corner again. So, and there, unfortunately, we have the Hexis AMR Aston of Fred Makovicky stopped at the side of the road. Was it Fred Makovicky? Yes, it is. I think he has handed over, hasn't he? He was due to be doing the final stint. So that doesn't look particularly healthy for that car. Stopped at a fairly decent place. No safety cars. I've just cursed it, haven't I? But no safety cars so far today. As this battle for third drops down into Vale. Outside. And they come into the second apex at Club. And you see what I mean about Lunardi there. He was quite far behind considering the pace he'd caught up with him. He's now lapping very similarly. Here's Peter Cox. Is he going to be coming in this lap? Yes, he is. Or it looked like he was taking a narrow line. Yeah, Peter Cox comes in, the final one of our front runners to make a pit stop. Got it up to second place when he's coming in now. So still leading Pro-Am. And he's got quite a distance over the number 2 car, which is now being driven by Michael Bartels. So I don't think it's going to be comfortable, but it's going to be possible that they hold on to the Pro-Am lead. They may have had a lap or so, but it takes about a minute and a half, as we've said, to complete a pit stop. I wish I spoke German. I could tell you what they're saying, but I can't. So they strap him in, and Mark Hayek heads out of the pits. There then is the number 2 car. That's the car he's battling with for the lead of Pro-Am. And he's only down at Vale. Refueling done. Here come the tyres. This might be fairly close. Team manager of car 32 to race director immediately. That could be interesting because Stefano Telli, currently running effectively in 4th position, challenging for the final podium spot. His team manager has been asked to go up and have a little chat to the race director, so obviously some kind of indiscretion. I think this is going to be fairly comfortable now for Mark Hayek, actually, because he's going to be leaving the pits now, and his main rival is just coming down the hill through Brooklands, or not even at Brooklands, just at Aintree. So we're going to resume the lead. Mark Hayek a little bit slower than Peter Cox though, so we'll have to see if Michael Bartels can begin to close the gap in a little bit, with 45 minutes remaining, so still plenty of time. Michael Bartels, the 43-year-old, he's definitely the pro, or one of the pros in that team, who are now going to be chasing down Blancpain. He was the German Formula Ford champion in 1986. He did 4 Grand Prix for Lotus F1, and that's a puncture on the rear left for the Alpina. So just as he is trying to close in, I think it's a puncture anyway. It's certainly very slow moving. It's front left, is it, that we've got the puncture on? And that is an absolute disaster for the Alpina. Its first weekend, and it's heads in hands time. Real heads in hands time for Nicky Meyer-Melnoff there. He's fine through these right-handers, but coming through Luffield is going to be an absolute pain, and this is going to send him spiralling down the order. It's going to lose him at least, I would predict, about 2 minutes, something like that. So this could drop him. I wouldn't even like to predict where, as we're about to see the replay. There he goes. That's off at Club corner, yeah, so didn't look like there was any damage. It must have been just a normal puncture. Shake of the head, thumbs down from Dylan Durdal, and cruising into the pit lane comes the 41 car. I'm sure Haley will be in down there to investigate, but it's just about staying on the rim. Is it doing any damage to the bodywork around it? Into the pit lane, out of what would have been, what surely was the pace to be, a 3rd place, a final podium spot. They're just going to change the 1 tyre probably to try and get him out, back out as quickly as possible. Dino Lunardi, well, he was pushing very hard. Perhaps he just attacked too hard. Front left is the one that takes all the stress around here. Cops, Maggots, Beckett's, Stowe, Club, Abbey, all the fast corners really are right-handers, which puts the pressure on the front left, so maybe that is the reason why Dino Lunardi has had to come in with a puncture. Paolo Roberti now is being told to respect the track limits as well. This is the number 3 car, being driven now by Stef Dusseldorp, and he's in a mini battle with the 59 car of Adam Christodoulou. But Christodoulou is a number of laps down, so it's not really a scrap there. Behind is our race leader, Maxime Martin, in the Marc Vidiès Racing BMW. 44 minutes to go in this race, and he's got a comfortable lead of some 31 seconds over second place man Petrobelli in the 29 Vita for 1 car. Back out is the Alpina then, and it was just a puncture, no damage or contact or anything like that, so it may well have been just pushing the tyres too hard in his quest to get second place, or a piece of debris. We haven't had that much debris over the circuit really today, but never know. Just the smallest things can cause punctures, so we can continue to look at this battle for third place. It's now a two-way scrap out onto the hangar straight. It's Paolo Roberti ahead of Stefan Ortelli down into Stowe Corner. The gaps have been fairly similar for quite a while now. Into the left-hander, a lot of curb being taken there by Roberti on the inside and on the inside of Club Corner as well. Bartels is now coming under attack as they turn into the left-hander. This is from the 50 AF Corsa car. It's been handed over to Matt Griffin, the Irishman, who is another driver who's been very prominent in British GT and very quick in British GT as well. This isn't a class battle, so even if Bartels loses this position, he is still going to be second in class. But he is lapping quicker than Mark Hayek, actually. It was 6, 8, 9 tenths of a second. Hear my mental arithmetic. That was 9 tenths of a second on that last lap, and the gap between them is 18 seconds. So, yeah, it's going to need a mammoth effort from Bartels, isn't it, to close in on Mark Hayek? But anything's possible in 42 minutes of racing. There is a member of the GT1 team as they enjoy the racing here. Down into Stowe. And Bartels, he won't really want to lose time in this scrap with Matt Griffin. I think he'd rather let Matt Griffin go and get on with his way. There is the 31 car still lapping, which is very good news for Georges Cabin. Gilles Vannelet has now taken over that number 31 Lamborghini. And if that finishes, which I'm sure it will, then Georges Cabin will be the Gentleman Trophy champion. Side by side then, the Audi's looking up the inside on the run down into Stowe. Is Ortelli about to take third place? Yes, he is. And there's nothing that Roberti can do about it. Actually, Ortelli was ahead as they crossed that sector time. Goes defensive on the run down into Vale. Roberti to the outside. And I think that's job done, really, isn't it? Oh, he's taken too much curb on the inside. That unsettles the Porsche, bounces it around a bit. Roberti really going for it with the curbs, isn't he? He's taking not much to get it past. And another man who's got past is Matt Griffin up the inside into Brooklands. And he goes past Bartel. Now, what Bartel will try and do is keep with Matt Griffin and hope that Bartels will close in the gap subsequently to Mark Hayek in front. And they need to be careful as well, because not too far behind, I don't think, is Dino Lenardi. You just saw him flashing through there. The 33 car, crucially for the championship, Christopher Mize is still running in 5th place. So Hayek is leading Pro-Am. He's going to be coming under a little bit of pressure. Let's hear from Peter Cox, who did the middle stint in that Lamborghini.
Peter, do you think that you've left the Lamborghini in a good enough position for Mark to bring it home in a good result? Well, I don't know. I mean, I pushed very hard, and the last few laps I had a bit of traffic, which was very stubborn traffic, and that cost me extra seconds, maybe 7, 8. And I hope we'll see how he does. I haven't seen the lap times yet. For sure, in the other car is now a fast driver and a professional driver, so that's also not fair competition. But that's how it is in this series, and we just try to see how far we can get. And Mark drives well, and the car from Rd5 Engineering is working perfectly. It was very fast. So a podium would already be nice, because we had not such good luck in the Blancpain series. So we won the first one, and it would be nice to be on the podium for this one also.
Thank you.
So Mark Hayek still holding on in the lead. I think they could be fairly comfortable for the podium. I feel like Godfrey Jones is a long way back. They've made their final pit stop now, the Jones brothers. So it's Godfrey Jones back in that number 90 Mercedes SLR. Mark Hayek about to be lapped by our race leader, Maxime Martin, who's lapping a second quicker than the rest of the field at the moment. Oh, apart from Christopher Mize, actually. He's just done the fastest lap of anyone on that previous lap, 2 minute 5.214. So he's lapping pretty strongly as well. And as I was saying before we went to that interview, Christopher Mize, if he finishes in 5th place, that is the championship sealed for Greg Franke, no matter what else happens. Is he far behind Paolo Ruberti? Yes, he's 50 seconds behind, so that's not going to be a battle that develops, as here comes the lapping ring, the Pro Cup leader about to lap the Pro-Am Cup leader. Any minute now, Maxime Martin will slither through, probably on the run down the Hangar Straight. Mark Hayek will see the distinctive and recognisable Mark VDS Racing livery in his mirrors, and moves over to one side. Maxime Martin trying to get a bit of a tow, and then will surely go through the inside. Yes, finally he gets through on the inside into Stowe corner. Blue flags for car 24, says the timing screen. And that position is dealt with. Now, what's this? This is recovering Lunardi. After his puncture a few minutes ago, he's now in 9th place, just behind Bartels on the run down into Vale. And surely this will be fairly easy meet for him, as our race leader continues to extend his lead. 33.8 seconds lead up at the front for the BMW. And the McLaren still running out there, which is excellent news. And here's Lunardi. Surely he can make easy work of Bartels. With the pace that Alpina has had this weekend, you'd think it should just breeze past one of the Pro-Am cars. To the right-hand side he looks. Surely he'll get the switch back now, up the inside into Adrian, job done. On the power, no, that Ferrari performing very, very strongly at the moment in the hands of Michael Bartels. He's one of the quicker drivers in that team, really, is Bartels, in the number 2 car. He's the pro of the Pro-Am, as it were. As we said earlier, 4 Grand Prix for Lotus in 1991. He didn't qualify for any of them in what was a very difficult Lotus car. He was filling in for Johnny Herbert when Johnny Herbert had some racing commitments in Formula Nippon, I think it was. Bartels, of course, FIA GT champion in 2006, 2008, 2009, and winning GT1 in 2010, so this is no slouch we're dealing with. But the pace of that Alpina has been fantastic. And here he comes on the inside of Beckett's. Through he goes, moving up into 8th position overall. Again, doesn't make much difference in the pro class, particularly. Next man he's got to try and get past is Matt Griffin, who is lapping at a fairly similar pace. Well, he was lapping fairly similarly when Lunardi was stuck up behind Bartels, so we'll see how that develops with 35 minutes to go in this race. The hospitality suites with the guests looking over Brooklands. One of the best corners on the circuit now, really. It's great that that corner has been incorporated into the Grand Prix layout. It was such a fantastic corner for club racing for many years on the national circuit, but now it's on the full international circuit, and all these top cars and drivers are experiencing the challenge of braking, late apexing, and getting a line into Luffield as well. I think this will be a what might have been situation for Dino Lunardi, because, well, for him and the whole team, because they were much quicker than anyone else in qualifying. Everyone expected a bit of an Alpina domination this afternoon, but it hasn't quite developed that way, has it? It looks like they're going to finish down in something like 8th position, unless they can close in on Matt Griffin, he's only possibly 4 seconds ahead, something like that. In fact, that might be him coming through Woodcote Corner just in front of, we'll see as they come across the timing screens. Yeah, across the line goes Matt Griffin in the AF Corsa car. Gap between them just 3.1 seconds, so may be able to move up to 6th in class, Dino Lunardi, by the end of this race. I think Christopher Myers has got too much speed and too much of an advantage to be able to do anything about him, but 6th in class could well be a possibility. Still, Paolo Roberti must respect track limits. In that battle, by the way, Paolo Roberti has dropped 4.6 seconds behind the Audi of Stefano Ortelli that he lost out to, so Ortelli comfortably in that 3rd place now. 13 seconds behind 2nd place man, but lapping 2 seconds a lap quicker. So that could be something that could develop. That means in about, if they continue at this kind of pace, in about 12 laps time, I would say that they're going to close in about 6 laps time, of course, sorry. If he's 2 seconds a lap quicker and 12 seconds behind, he could well close that gap just a little bit. So the battle for 2nd place may not be completely over unless Petrobelli in 2nd place in the 29 Vita41 Ferrari is just cruising and taking it easy. The battle for 2nd place may not be over. The battle for 1st place, though, I think is, unless something catastrophic happens to Maxime Martin's BMW Z4, he is going to be taking the victory, I would imagine. Through the right-hander they come. Greg Mansell still leading GT4, but as we've said, as long as the 63 RJN Motorsport Nissan is still running, then that should be no problem at all for them to take the title. Let's look at how his Pro-Am shaping up. Bartels is doing a very good job then. He's running in 2nd in class, isn't he? He's running 2nd in class, so if he finishes 2nd in class, he will pick up 18 points. And where is his main challenger? 4th in class, which I think is 12 points. So that means there'll be a 6-point swap, and there's 5.5 points between them. So I think, I'll double check my maths in a minute, but I think if things stay how they are, Nick Homerson and Louis Maciel could win the championship by half a point ahead of Frank Morel, Jean-Luc Boblique and Ludovic Bardi. So we'll double check that, but that seems to be the case. Yeah, so unless Bardi, now driving the number 20 car, can get ahead of Godfrey Jones, what's the gap between them? 33 seconds. So if things stay how they are, it looks like it's going to be Nick Homerson and Louis Maciel who will be the champions in the Pro-Am Cup. Michael Bartels hasn't competed all the rounds with them, which is why he is not up the top. He has only competed in the Spa 24 Hour with them, I think. It's his only race with them, Michael Bartels, because he's only got 25 points on the board. It was Paul Van Sputteren who partnered them for the rest of the season. And of course, without that Spa 24 Hour score, Van Sputteren not in the running for the title, and of course not being in the car. means he's not in the running for the title either, as we are about to see Dino Lunardi make his way past our Pro-Am class leader, Mark Hayak, and for 6th overall. So Lunardi's got past Matt Griffin, and he's about to get past Mark Hayak, surely. Just where will he pick the time to do it? I don't think it's a case of picking the time, is it? I think it's going to be a case of cruising past down the Hanger Straight. Hayak doesn't really defend, sticks to the outside line. Lunardi pulls alongside and moves up into 6th place. As I've said before, though, I think he's too far behind Christopher Mize to take 5th, some 35 seconds further up the road is Christopher Mize. So unless he can catch him at 2 seconds or so a lap, it's going to be difficult. 2nd place man in the 29